Start off this episode with the latest addition to my game room. This Donkey Kong Bonanza towel, bought for 650 platinum points from the Nintendo website. Came with a warning that it causes cancer according to the state of California. We're going to be talking about cancer a lot in this video, so I guess gallows humor. Try to keep it as lighthearted as possible and have it be a celebration of life. This video is a tribute to Billy Hudson, also known as Billy Chaser, from the Game Chasers program on YouTube. Unfortunately, Thursday afternoon, he lost his battle with brain cancer. Game Chasers, I watched every single episode. And the Toy Chasers, their other show. They're one of the original YouTube retro gaming channels. And what to me when first seeing them, what stood out in my mind is it didn't seem like a YouTube video. It seemed like an actual TV show. It was very, very well produced, which is thanks to Billy himself, because he went to school for video editing and just made a real slick, well-produced program, well edited, voiceovers, intros, theme songs, great cuts. It was just very well done. It was a level of professionalism that wasn't really around that much at the time, especially in the retro video game world. And we're playing this game here, Little Samson, first, because that's kind of what they were famous for. Was they got 2 copies of this game, Little Samson, on 2 different episodes, and this is one of the most rare and sought after and expensive games on the NES. So I figured I'd start off with Little Samson in memory of the Game Chasers, Billy. The whole thing just came so quickly, so shocking. That 3 weeks ago, out of nowhere on the channel, there's a video from Billy on the Game Chasers channel. It says, "I'm in the ER." So I click on the video, and he says he has a brain tumor, and the show won't be on for a while. I mean, I've known a few people that have had brain tumors, and they all survived. Some of them were cancerous, some of them weren't. But I know that there's a brain tumor type that is very aggressive, a blastoma or something like that. I'm guessing that's what he had, because in the video he said it started growing in about a month before he got the symptoms, and then he made that announcement video 3 weeks ago, so it was less than 2 months that the brain cancer killed him. And that's just devastating, shocking, unbelievable. It's hard for it to sink in. I mean, he was one of the main guys of the original retro gaming guys. I mean, it started off with the AVGN. Pat the NES Punk, Metal Jesus, there's Game Sack, the Irate Gamer, Gamester 81, Stop Skeletons from Fighting, Juwario. I don't know, as soon as the AVGN came out, there was an explosion of video game retro content YouTubers that just kind of took off, and they all became friends. They all went to conventions together, and they built kind of a community. And the Game Chasers were the best produced show in that genre. And they stuck around and kept doing it. Their last video came out 2 months ago. But the cancer took them quick. You know, sometimes people go into remission. Sometimes people have cancer, manage it for years, live 15, 20 years. But like my dad's cancer, he went into remission when I was in the 8th grade. Survived a few years. And then he got cancer again my freshman year of college, and he was diagnosed in October, and he was dead by November. So it can take you real quick too. My cat Gabby, I don't like to talk about this, but my favorite cat Gabby, the best cat in the world. I know you think you have the best cat in the world, but Gabby is the best cat in the world, just to let you know. She's been battling pancreatic cancer for the past year and a half. And I've been constant caretaker of her. I'm more locked down than I was during COVID. And she's made it through it this past year and a half. And then the same day Billy died, actually, she started showing signs of bone cancer. So it's another horrible thing that happened that day with cancer. I hate cancer. That's my message for today. There should be a cure. It's just and apparently, you know, Billy, he had friends there with him at the end, taking care of him because he lost some mobility from the brain tumor, and he was surrounded by loved ones, and that's a message I have to give. If you know somebody with cancer, there's nothing scarier in the world probably than having cancer. So be there for them. Don't make them feel alone. Let them know they're loved, and help them through it. That's something no one should ever go through alone. That aggressive type of brain cancer is 100% always terminal, which is really, really sucks. Except, ironically, I just read a article about a kid, like a young kid with that type of terminal brain cancer, who was the first one ever in the history to go into remission from that type of brain cancer through some kind of university experimental program. But you know how these trials and experimental programs go through. It takes years and years for the FDA to approve it, and it's just the gears move slowly, and unfortunately, you know, Billy's cancer was incredibly aggressive, and they tried to do surgery on it. They weren't able to get all of it. I guess apparently he was supposed to go through a bunch of surgeries, um, but he just didn't make it. It's just a wicked, wicked form of cancer. Um, and I'm sure everybody who's a fan of the Game Chasers is taking this real hard. So I'm gonna go on to the next game, and let's talk about the Game Chasers a little bit, about what it meant to me, and the legacy that they will leave, and um, the memories I have enjoying them over the past. I guess they've been on since 2011, so 14 years. The theme song for the Game Chasers was the Zelda theme song, so I thought I'd play Zelda. Say Chode in the memory of Game Chasers. They were always calling each other Chode. Oops. I messed that up. I don't know how to register. Yeah, the first time I ever saw Game Chasers was the first thing I noticed was these guys aren't your typical nerds. They're more chodes. Actually, they're more peckerwoods, I'd call them. The peckerwood, if you're not familiar with the term, is sort of a southern term for kind of crude, lower class white people. Kind of like a redneck, but you don't have to be a redneck to be a peckerwood. It's you know one when you see one. And they were smart guys and everything, and worldly and everything. Traveled a lot, but I mean, you can't take the peckerwood out of the peckerwood or something like that. And I used to love going on both the two main guys, Billy and Jay. They they streamed at the same time as each other, both begging for money for donations for them streaming video games. Um, but I used to love to go on both of their streams and call them Peckerwoods. And they'd always block my account. I'm gonna have to make a new account, sock puppet account, to go back on there and call them Peckerwoods again. My original favorite account I used to troll these guys when they were streaming was, if you're familiar with the YouTube video game personality Pat the NES Punk, he's always struggling with his weight, yo-yo dieting, skinny fat. So I made a account, Fat the NES Chunk, and Jay really liked that, but he was mad that I called him a Peckerwood because he liked that name so much. But um, you know, it's they weren't your typical nerds, and that's what I liked about them. They had their own thing going on. I didn't agree with their politics and their kind of ruthless way of bartering and negotiating, getting thousands of worth of games for pennies on the dollar just because they knew how much stuff was worth it, like pawn shops and flea markets and swap meets and things like that in their acquisition of games. But I did see them go back and pay a old lady extra money because she sold them a like a rare Xbox for basically nothing. But they felt bad. They went back and and gave her some more money for it. They were I my favorite sock puppet account I used to troll them with was under the guise of, I mentioned him earlier, deceased video game YouTuber Juwario, and I would definitely always get blocked for that because if you don't know, Juwario was a sex pest. He was exposed for predatory sexual behavior, and he committed suicide to avoid the repercussions. Um, but one of the funny foibles of Billy and the Game Chasers was they loved Juwario. Juwario kind of helped put him on the map. He kind of introduced him to everybody when they were getting into the retro gaming scene. So if you look at their Juwario tribute videos in the comments, they defended him till the very end. He's innocent in their eyes. Which, I mean, I could be offended by that. I could be outraged, but I'm not an outraged type of guy. It's like when I see people say Michael Jackson's innocent, I don't get mad at them. See, all right then, you are crazy. But I always had a great time. Yeah, saying I was Juwario. That's the great thing about YouTube. It's kind of like the new public access. That's what public access was all about. You could call in and troll people over the phone. Now you go on YouTube, make a sock puppet account to people streaming, and you troll them that way. Your little message shows up on the screen. It's not quite as good as hearing your voice on the air, but it's a lot of fun. And I spent many a nights. I think they streamed like every either Friday or Saturday night. I spent many a lonely nights flipping between Billy and Jay's stream, just watching them play old games, and you know that's not going to happen anymore. Jay might still stream, but I seriously doubt there will be any more Game Chasers episodes because Billy was sort of the brains behind the operation. He's the video editor. He was the production genius behind it. I'm not sure what Jay's job is. I know he worked at a Chippendale strip club for a while, but even if they did try to go on, the show wouldn't be the same. They'd have to hire an editor, but they actually went on to sell most of their collection, at least their more rare and valuable stuff, a few years ago to accomplish their dream of making the Game Chasers movie, which is available on Tubi. if you're interested in watching it. I watched it the other day. Pretty good. Definitely better than the Angry Video Game Nerd movie. So, um, that's one of the the true glories in life is accomplishing your dreams. So, I'm really glad that Billy was able to do that before he tragically passed away, and that'll be there forever for us to go back and watch. And all the Game Chasers videos will be there forever for us to go back and watch. It'll be a bittersweet thing to watch. I highly recommend watching the playlist. Um, Juwario Magfest 2013, The Time and Place of the Assault. That contains some of my favorite Game Chasers episodes. I streamed this game in one of my last streams, but I think it's important to stream this game for its connection to Billy. No matter what night it was, Billy was streaming. He always ended up playing UN Squadron. And this is my I think it might be glitching out. I'll be right back. Okay, as I was saying, this is my actual physical copy of UN Squadron that I inherited from my grandfather. Still has the smoke yellowing stains on it. I went back and played it at my grandfather's house every year in Mississippi. I'd sit down in his basement. It was my favorite place in the world to be, and play his copy of UN Squadron. And my grandparents introduced me to video games. They were the first people I knew with the Nintendo, Mario. And then one Christmas, we went to Mississippi, and my parents gave me a Super Nintendo, and then gave my grandparents a Super Nintendo at the same time. So, playing this UN Squadron makes me feel closer to my granddaddy, and it makes me feel closer to Billy because he also has a Super Nintendo connection to his grandparents. His grandparents bought. I don't think he had a Super Nintendo at the beginning when he was young, so he would go over to his grandparents' house and play Super Nintendo. So I always felt a special kinship with him in that way when I saw him play UN Squadron on all his streams. He just loved this game, and commented on one of the many tribute videos. Various video game YouTubers. I believe this one was RGT85. Billy's up there playing UN Squadron in heaven. And I think he is. I think in heaven, you don't even have to have a video game collection. You can play any video game you want, anytime you want. And he's probably playing UN Squadron. Maybe he's playing it with my granddaddy. I don't know. But, yeah, I couldn't make this video without playing UN Squadron. One of my other favorite things on the Game Chasers channel, he didn't do it quite so often in the past few years, but he had a little segment called Top 5 Friday, and he wrote his own theme song for it. And that was one of the best things about the Game Chasers. They weren't afraid to laugh at themselves. And he had to have known it was the most ridiculous song ever written. I'll go ahead and give my rendition of it. It goes, "Oh, it's Friday night, and I don't know what I'm gonna do tonight. I could sit here and pick my nose off, watch some brand new videos. Top 5 Friday, Top 5 Friday tonight." And it was a great Friday night thing to look forward to Billy's top 5 whatever, hearing that theme song on Friday night. I love the ritual of Friday night. I love watching TV shows that come on Friday night. Joe Bob, and then Saturday night, Svengoolie. I love looking forward to something like that. And that's what I'm gonna be one of my best memories of Game Chasers is the Top 5 Friday. I'm gonna go back and watch those. And I already have gone back and watched a lot of their videos since he passed away, but it's pretty sad to see, right? This game I'm playing because I'm just thinking about my favorite Game Chasers episodes, and I was talking about it earlier. My favorite Game Chasers episode of all time is MagFest 2013. And in MagFest 2013, it's a 2-part episode, and it's an ongoing saga of this guy Rue and Billy from Game Chasers trying to convince Pat the NES Punk to sell them a Contra 3 box. And this is Contra 3 right here. Real hard copy. Don't have the box, but this is a real copy of Contra 3. So I found it appropriate to play Contra 3 with the whole saga of the Contra 3 box. I might play Spy Hunter as well because Billy and Jay went to a place called what's the name of the place? It's a retro gaming store outside of Washington, D.C. I've ordered from them before, but it's in the episode. They bought a box copy of Spy Hunter on the NES because it's Pat the NES Punk's favorite game, and they autographed it, and they try to use it as a bargaining chip to get the Contra 3 box. Long story short, Pat the NES Punk eventually did give in and sell Billy the Contra 3 box, but he East Starland, that's the name of the place they went and got the Spy Hunter. But he took the plastic protective case off of the Contra 3 box, so that shows how much of a shyster Pat the NES Punk is, and he's a total shyster. He charges people to rewatch his Twitch. He rips people off who write for his book. He's just he's in it for the money. I remember it was a really funny thing on a stream with Billy. People were saying, call Pat the NES Punk if you have his phone number. And he's like, yeah, I have his phone number. So he just called him. I forgot what he said, but Pat the NES Punk just immediately just hung up on him. Because that's the kind of dickhead that he is. But I liked Pat the NES Punk quite a bit too. Um, these early retro gaming YouTubers, I mean, that was from the time of my 20s until now. It's been a significant part of my life. It's the most profound parasocial relationships that I've developed over these years of bowling alone, so to speak. Check out the book Bowling Alone. It predicted all this shit. Um, and it's I mean, when Giwario died, that was a huge shock and probably the first tragedy. But then it all came out a few years later that he was like a sex pest or whatever. So um, he's not spoken of anymore. He's kind of like the dirty little secret of the YouTube retro gaming community. Kind of like Gator Rogowski is for skateboarding. They just kind of like to pretend that he never existed. Um, but the Game Chasers, straight up solid dudes. Hustlers, but solid dudes. And Billy was a family man. He had a wife and a young kid. He's leaving them behind. Just what a tragic, shocking situation and turn of events, and just the fact that it happened so quickly, 3 weeks after the announcement. Um, I'm still in a state of shock. Um, and this gets said a lot when people die. I mean, not always, but it's when people have these larger than life personalities, you think that they're invincible. And Billy from Game Chasers definitely fits that mold. He was very physically fit, uh, large, hulking man, um, very outgoing personality, very charismatic, very gregarious, hardworking guy. And the last thing I expected was him to die in less than 2 months of an aggressive brain cancer. But that goes to show you should never take any moment of life for granted, and you should never take the people that you know in life for granted. I watched a video of tribute to Billy of a guy that knew him that actually did some camera work for the MagFest 2013 episode. And he was talking about how him and Billy had a falling out and they didn't speak before he died because they got into an argument about politics. Um, I don't talk about my own politics, but I'll go ahead and say that it's very different from a lot of the people I consider to be my best friends. Um, and I'm not willing to lose my best friends over something like politics. That's kind of like stopping being best friends with someone because you like the Yankees and they like the Red Sox. It's just, there's so much more to friendship than tribalism. So, friendship is the greatest currency in this life. Never take it for granted. Um, Never burn bridges with someone over something like politics, because when it all comes down to it, the Illuminati's running all this shit. It's all a script being acted out on the world stage. Okay, yeah, this is Spy Hunter, game that Billy and Jay um, autographed for Pat the NES Punk for Billy to acquire the Contra 3 box. So I don't even know how many times I played this game. It was something I saw in the arcade all the time. I'll turn up the volume because I think it has a good song in it. But it had the dun 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 dun. Um, yeah, it's there used to be something called Retroware TV, and it was sort of a conglomeration of different YouTube um, retro gaming personalities, including the Game Chasers, Pat the NES Punk, Juario, Norm the Gaming Historian. But they made a great series of documentaries called The Video Game Years that I highly recommend. It goes from the 70s all the way to the beginning of the 90s, the history of video games. Sort of like a I Love the 90s style docu-series with just commentary of the different talking heads about the games and their memories and experiences with them. But that's another part of the Game Chasers legacy that I think you should go back and watch. Um, okay, now I hear the do 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 do. Can't believe this is Pat the NES Punk's favorite game. This game sucks. Yeah, I feel real bad for Shady J. Shady J and Billy were best friends. They're the two biggest stars of the Game Chasers. There's many other personalities on the show, but they're the main two. They are the Game Chasers, and they met working at Blockbuster. How much more retro 90s can you get than that? That's a match made in heaven. And they had a real strong connection there, and nothing more horrible than losing a friend. Um, I've never lost my best friend. I can't even imagine what I would go through if I lost my best friend, but losing a friend is something I don't wish on anyone. All right, this is the last game on this tribute to Billy Hudson from Game Chasers. This is another one of his favorite games that he liked to play on his streams. Mario 3 from the Super Mario All-Stars collection. Billy was born in 1980. I was born in 1984. So he's a little bit older than me, but he's a millennial like me. And, or maybe late Gen X, I don't know, an Xennial, I guess you could call it. But people our age, this was the game. It's featured in the movie The Wizard. It was the most hyped game of the Nintendo era. Everybody has memories of this game, special memories of this game. Everyone's gone back and played this game over and over again. And it's one of those games you can play forever. No, I never got bored watching Billy play it. I'm gonna miss those streams. I'm gonna miss trolling these dudes because I troll them out of love. Us guys, we like to pull each other's chains. It's not vicious. Sometimes guys can go over the line, like my friend Ian Gilbert, who I recently forgave for putting a cervical mucus covered dildo on my screwed to my front door years ago because he sent me a bunch of vegan food. But even when guys go too far, we can forgive each other. But it's just that's how us guys bond, calling each other chodes. Game chasers are always farting on each other. I don't know. It just seems like out of all the retro video game YouTubers, I found the Game Chasers the most relatable because I'm a southern, low-class male from Mississippi, South. I'm not just into video games. I'm also into any type of 80s and 90s nostalgia. I'm into wrestling. Video production. getting a good deal, having a crude sense of humor. The the game chasers weren't just your average nerds. They were they just had nerd interests. They're pretty cool dudes. I should say R because Jay's still alive, and so is Dodongo, Melvor, 8-Bit Eric, the guy that looks like 8-Bit Eric. Um, there's still game chasers around in this world. Um, but I just don't feel like the show's going to go on, which is really sad. They definitely left a legacy. I'm hoping that Shady J will continue streaming so I can ask him if he's a bisexual or not and things like that. Call him a Peckerwood. I hope this isn't the last we see of Shady J, but considering that his best friend just died, I don't think he's going to be on the internet pretending like everything's okay for the foreseeable future. Just an awful tragedy. Fuck cancer, man. That should be the number one priority of medical science, is curing cancer, because it's gone on for too long. And I saw something about there's like a plane crash recently full of people that had found a cure to cancer. So that's a horrible story. So this video doesn't just go out to Billy, it goes out to anyone whose life has been affected by cancer, whether you got cancer, you lost someone that you loved with cancer. Just, you're not alone. I've lost my dad, I've lost a dog, my cat's been suffering from cancer. For a year and a half now. My aunt died of cancer a few years ago. So you're not alone. Cancer affects us all. It's an evil, evil disease. I mean, I'm asking myself, why couldn't the irate gamer get cancer instead of Billy Chaser? You know, but it's the only the good die young type thing. He was an awesome, talented, funny dude. And, just happened so quick, and I mean, I didn't know him. I'm not part of the YouTube retro gaming community. I've never been to any conventions or anything, but a few people watch my shitty channel. So I guess the point of this video, besides the tribute, of course, is to encourage you to go watch the Game Chasers channel, and it'll, it'll bring you a lot of laughs. It'll bring you a lot of joy, and you'll wish you watched it from the beginning. Um, I'll leave a link to their channel, and I'll leave a link to Juwario Magfest 2013, the time and place of the Assault playlist, um, in the description below. But yeah, this one goes out to Billy Hudson, Billy Chaser. Good night, sweet prince.